Google and call every doctor's office in that block right there. But they've had no contact with me saying, you know, it's a reminder, call, text, email, anything. So, and it's not that we at least do the day before, but
Sure.
if-
Maybe after they
you
set
forget
their
about
appointment, then we can send a text and say,
What a
hey,
concept.
yeah,
thanks for
Hey,
signing up.
thank you so much for giving us a call.
yeah,
There-
here's your new patient paperwork, like you
There-
do.
Is a way to set up to do that automatically, but we had to stop because people were sitting out here in the lobby ready to go back for their appointment.
And then
And we
they'd
would
get it.
pre-appoint them and they'd get a text message and be like, why did I just get a text message that my appointment's today? I'm like, no, that's 2018. And then.
Yeah, yeah, because everybody was asking about that, I remember.
Okay, let me just hop in here. I like the way that when I put this on the board here, it's like, oh,
There's
this,
a big gap.
Yeah.
did they get my appointment? Did they hear from me? I think I set it up, but there's nothing.
I
I
can't
didn't
remember
get-
who I
I
called.
didn't get
Where
a
am I
quick
going?
response from them to saying, we gotcha, you're in.
Gotcha.
We, gotcha, we don't have, there's nothing in here saying, thank you, we
Oh,
like you.
she's the one that we're
Things
switching
are
out.
going crazy, Blake, what just happened?
This is a new system.
It's a
Are there
little old lady,
police?
little old lady,
Oh, and she has
Police.
glasses, so she's in the right spot.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
but does this start to make sense as
Yes.
when we start putting the steps out there into play?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, we're starting to learn, okay, now there could be steps that we put in, okay? My next step is to come in and go, okay, when we're calling people, obviously, what are we saying? Is there a script? Okay, good, so there's a script. So what I would want to do is look at this script,
Okay.
okay? And then, so we're setting it up 2 weeks, and then again, there's a big space here before we get to this spot, the day prior, correct? Is there a script here? Fantastic. Okay, so I would want to take a look at that script and make sure that, you know, the things that, I just want to see what's being said to the people. And if we're finding now that this feels like this is the one that where we're losing people, feels like we don't really have numbers to back it up, but it feels like, then the first thing is, okay, what are the numbers?
Okay.
What are the numbers of no-shows this way versus the numbers this way?
Okay.
Okay? And if we find that, man, there is a marked difference here, then now there's something that we need to take action on.
Okay.
And so we look at this and we go, well, looking at our system here, looking at our tracking, how could we fix this to increase our, or to improve our 33% no-show rate? How could we improve that? Man, what can we do? Well, you guys immediately started coming up with ideas. How about if we talk to them? You know? How about if we actually, you know,
Reach out.
respond and tell them that, yes, they're humans, you know, and we are humans, and we could do the human thing together. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So again, when they, if they are setting up an appointment, I think we do have said if they set up an appointment online, they probably get a thank you type of thing, you know, it's not an email, but it's just a thing that comes up on the
They set up
screen.
an appointment online, it doesn't give them anything, it just says, wait for us to call you. And then we call them and actually schedule the appointment. Because they can't request an appointment online because it may not be available.
Okay, so they set up an appointment online and then
They
we
request,
do call them?
they
Yes.
request for an appointment online, and we call them and set up the appointment for them.
Okay, so we are calling.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so yeah, online.
Hey Joe, that time's not available, but we've got, you know, the next Tuesday at the same time, does that time work for you?
Okay.
And
Or we don't
yes
have a
or no.
1:30, but we
That's
have a
just
1
if they
o'clock.
call and say, hey, I need to schedule an appointment.
Sure, so this is if they call, and
Yes.
then there could be another thing if they actually set up an appointment, or
Request.
request an appointment online, then we talk to them. And so what is the show rate on that?
It's not-
We haven't tracked it.
Yeah, so if we could track that, then we find, okay, this one really isn't that big of a deal. People are showing up, you know, there's like 10, 12% that don't show up. Okay, welcome to life, those things happen, okay? This one down here, That one's working okay. This one isn't. What's the missing point? You know, what's the missing point of contact? Is that fair enough? But we know this because we're tracking it. We know this because there is not only a written system in place, but there is this process that we're going through. And so if we're not getting the number out here that we want, the very first thing we do is step back into our tracking.
See, the sheets that Dr. Tate gave you all, there's like an optical one, there's a front desk new hire, a front desk, all of those
Checklist.
numbers that you fill in for each day. This was where we're headed. So
Okay.
like, I can put them into a spreadsheet and keep track of everything, but I need the numbers from you guys in order to track those. And so this will kind of help us figure out which numbers to track.
Yeah, and this is where, just to toss this out, I think we may have talked about this a long time ago. Everybody follow me. We're gonna go away from the camera for a second.
Field trip.
Yeah, you can leave your stuff here, I just wanna show you. Yeah, when it comes to all this tracking stuff, okay? The people that are here, that are actually doing the work, okay? It can be really difficult if they have to do the work and track all the work at the same time. It's like, my gosh, I'm spending so much time tracking that I don't have enough time to do the actual work. Something I'm having to work with Sean on right now. He's supposed to get, again, those 100 phone calls, and should take him about 4 hours. It's taking about 6.5 hours to get. What the heck are you doing? Well, I gotta do this, and I gotta make a change on the thing, and then I gotta move this over here, and I gotta copy it, and I gotta put it over here, because he is tracking and doing everything all at the same time. Does that make sense? But this tracking piece, this is why it's so important to have this mid-level management in place, okay? Because then it becomes the mid-level management that is actually recording all of the tracking. I need your numbers, I need your numbers, I need your numbers, I need your numbers. And then I'm the mid-level manager that actually plugs all the numbers into the tracking system. Because I want the workers, I want you. You need to be selling. You need to be taking care of people at the front desk. You need to be actually doing the work and not spending your time doing all of the management piece of it. Does that make sense? So, this is where, and when we have a smaller team, this is where we have to get into this thing called time management. And if I'm gonna ask you to work and do some of the management of this thing, we just need to make sure that we have the time blocked, you can do the work, but then somewhere during the week, there's a time blocked for you to do the management. Or else trying to do them all on top of each other, it is just, you won't have time to do it. And it'll be crazy, and then you'll be back in that emotional thing. It just feels like we never have time. It just, we can't do that. Well, people just aren't buying right now. It's this, and we're in that emotional world. Does that make sense? So it's that mid-manager level that is kind of their role to make sure that the numbers from the worker level, okay? You guys remember talking about that? You got the worker, you got the team builder, you got the mid-level manager, you have the supervisor or the director, and then you have the CEO. So you've got these 5 different levels here. And it's very common in small businesses to have multiple people in multiple levels, okay? And that's why we just have to make sure that we block out time to actually get that stuff done, okay? Because if you don't block it out, then in any given day, I'm trying to do the worker, I'm trying to also make sure that everybody's happy, all right? Everybody's sticking with the company, doing the team builder thing, but then I also have to do all this management stuff, and track numbers and all of that, and it just gets a little sideways. Make sense? Okay, what's wrong?
Sounds like Amanda. That's all I can think of, just hear Amanda. Poor Amanda.
That's what I told Dr. Tate on Monday. We had pretty much everyone that's here. And I told Dr. Tate, and I said, you know those little boxes that Clay drew out for me? That technician box is all me today. I said, I'm not going in any other box today.
Yeah, see, and that's wonderful to have the language, to have the visual. So I need to be in this box today. All right, that's fine. Now I am free to not have to do all the responsibilities in all the other boxes today because we know that this is the box that I'm in today. Now, who tells me what box I need to function in today? Who's responsible for doing that?
Dr. Tate usually tells me, but it's really me.
Okay, well, no, I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say it is your direct report. The person that, wherever the line goes and connects above you, that's the person to tell you, this is the box that you're going to be in today.
Which hat am I wearing today?
All right? Yeah, because if it's up to me to determine what box, now we've got problems, okay? Because now I'm decided I'm gonna be in this box, but the person above me is anticipating me being in this box. Now we've got miscommunication.
Or
Thought you
you're
were
like
gonna get that
me and
today.
you're like, well, I could do a little bit of this box too, and this one.
Yeah.
And then you spread yourself too thin.
Mhm, exactly. I'm here and I'm here and I'm here and I'm here, you know, and the next thing you know, I'm dressed up in some costume out on the street spinning signs. I'm doing that too, you know.
Air guitar, you can't forget the air
Exactly. We get everybody coming in, and then I'm back in here and I'm scheduling folks. And then, yeah, okay, you see an E, you know, and I'm doing it all. I'm the one-man laser show, you know.
Dr. Tate actually looked up an eyeball costume, and it was like $1,000.
Perfect, yeah. So does that make sense?
Yes.
So again, kind of knowing where we are, knowing what our primary responsibility is, something I deal with my employees all the time, because every day is not exactly the same, and things come up. And so I'm talking to my employees, hey, I need this, hey, I need this, hey, I need this, and they have learned, fantastic, is this a higher priority than completing this? And most of the time I go, no, it's not. You know? And so what we have, I think I've talked to you guys a little bit about our Google Drive sheet, our spreadsheet that everybody's on, the daily to-dos and everything. So I try to be really careful when I'm I try not to do the got-a-minute meetings, just like I don't want them to do the got-a-minute meetings. But I try to put all that on there. I just put on some stuff for Sean this morning that I want him to complete. But it doesn't need to be done today, you know, so I put by the 15th for him. So have it done by Friday. Give him a little space on that. Fair enough?
Yes.
Okay. So this is one system that we need to keep track of. I'm huge on having these things up on the wall. Having these flow charts, I call them workflow, all right? Having them up on the wall. This would be a great thing to decorate the kitchen back there. I went back there to check. You've got space. You have a huge wall with one tiny
Empty
clock
walls.
on it. Get the clock off of there. Now you've got the
Clock
whole
doesn't
wall.
even work.
Soon we'll have that covered with the Great Game of Business.
There we go, yeah. So what we'll have now is we can go and look at our systems. And it's not something that's really small on just a piece of paper over here, but it's actually something that's up on the wall that we can take a look at. Okay? Same thing goes for when we come to the optician's desk over here. When they come and they sit down, and then we do this, and then we do this, and then we do this. If all of a sudden we're not getting the numbers we want, then we have to come back into the system and find out where is it breaking down. For me personally, again, it's the whole Ronald Reagan thing. I trust you, but I want to verify. That's why if there's no way to record what's going on, then I can't really verify it. Doesn't mean you're lying to me. It just means something's, have you been in that spot yet where you're going, something's not adding up. We're doing the stuff, but all of a sudden the stuff isn't doing what it usually does. Well, I don't know. I guess we'll just keep doing the stuff. Or let's just throw away the stuff and bring in new stuff. When really what I have found 95% of the time is human error. Like you guys were saying. It's not that you're not saying the script. It's that you have moved to a place where your script has become like this and you're just kind of plowing through it and glassy-eyed and all that kind of stuff.
Well, and it's also harder, even though we have a lot more things and physical numbers we can track over there, it's harder for us to go back and say, okay, what step failed, because there's so many steps before they get to us. So from the minute they walk in the door, that's a step.
Yeah.
Their greeting, their how long they waited, their tech time, their doctor time to us. So even when we try to pick apart stuff, it could have been step 3 that they were done.
Well,
And-
like, how many times have people said, I gotta get back to work, I can't pick out glasses?
Yeah, and it's like, well, how can we track something like that if we can only measure what we see? So even trying to find a system where we can track, like, well, this is when the person lost their patience, or this is when the person decided that, they weren't happy with their experience here, and trying to go back and forth all the way back to that. There are so
Then
many
it
processes.
just gets dizzying.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, it's like, and again, welcome to the mid-manager box, okay?
Mandible.
And the reason why it gets dizzying is because you're also brain filled with all of the worker level box. And so now you're, okay, how am I gonna do that and do this? I can't really feel that all in my brain. And usually what ends up happening, okay, which is, I'm okay with this, but usually what happens is we drop to the lowest level and do the work. But when the work isn't producing what we needed to produce, again, well, we just need to work harder. Type of thing. We just, come on, let's just really work. Smarter is when you step up into that management level and place that, I do this workshop a lot with people. You hear about people wearing a whole bunch of different hats at work, okay? And if I told you guys this before, I don't think that wearing different hats, I think that's a misunderstanding. I don't think people are really wearing different hats at work. I think most often what's happening is people are in a management level. They're very possibly even in a management level is that mid-manager. They are making sure that things are going smooth during the day. They're putting out fires during the day. The worker is the one that's actually doing the work. And then the upper level manager or that director, they're the ones that are actually planning things. Okay? We okay? Oh, you guys always see things I don't say.
No, I heard somebody at the door.
Okay? But there's actually planning going on up here. You guys, the planner thinks very differently than the worker. And the fire putter outer thinks very differently than the planner. And so rather than, man, I'm wearing so many different hats, it's like, no, you're not wearing different hats. You are completely having to change mindsets during your day. If you go vertical, you are changing the way you have to think. Now, if you go horizontal, if you're a mid-manager here, mid-manager here, mid-manager here, mid-manager here, it's all the same mindset. Now you're changing hats. Does that make sense? But if you're having to go vertical, that's a completely different way of thinking. Completely different way of thinking. And it just doesn't, it reminds me back for 1 year, I taught K through 12 PE at a small little school up in Kansas City. Talk about freaking with your brain every day. I've got kids from they're just all over these. So I'm getting on to little kids that are crying and I'm going, you're not a junior in high school. I'm sorry. You're a kindergartner. Let me hug you, type of thing. It was just completely different mindsets that were going on. And it was really, really difficult to shift in that mindset. That's why it's so important for us to block time if you find yourself in roles that are mid-manager as well as worker. If you're in those two different roles, you have to block time so that you can go, all right, I got to open up, take that brain out, put this brain in, get up to speed, and now I need to spend time thinking this way. But jumping back and forth, like you were talking about a second ago, is just good luck. It's just one-man laser show, and you just can't get a whole lot done that way. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. It's not just changing a hat, it's changing your whole outfit.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, it's changing the entire outfit.
Well, because you wouldn't go work outside in that outfit.
Mhm.
You go put something else on, so it's literally
Yeah.
like you have to think, okay,
Yeah.
changing all of this to go do this.
And so what happens so often is that manager, the upper level manager, the mid manager, they're looking down here at the worker and they're going, what's the big deal? How come you can't get this done? It's common sense. It's like you're thinking different. You're thinking differently than this person down here. Okay? So again, just a little mindset thing for you there. All right? And we just need to be aware of that. I have found too, and I'm introducing these ideas with Dr. Tate, and we'll see what goes on with it. But a lot of times we can feel like, oh my gosh, we just need so much help. We just need, man, we need like 4 more people. Again, those are emotional things. Those are emotional things that are very real, very valid. Okay? I don't want to discard emotional things. But if we really dive in, most of the time when I'm talking with my clients, most of the time, 90% of their pressure can be relieved with a person coming in 10 to 15 hours a week. It's like, what? I thought I had to hire a whole new person and do the whole thing and benefits and all. No. You're bringing in somebody, you're paying them 9, 10, 11 bucks an hour, bam, they're going to take away a lot of this pressure and stress because we have a box for that. Does that make sense? Okay? So, again, coming back to our tracking, this is just one process. We've got some no-shows that are going on. We've increased no-shows. First thing is, let's track. What's going on? What are the numbers?
How long would you say to track?
Yeah, what kind of snapshot would you want?
Well, I kind of, if this is ongoing. Okay? It's ongoing. It's like, how often should I look at my speedometer?
Okay.
So break it up pretty much, like start with daily and then go into weekly and then go into kind of a month. That way, when you look back, say 3 months in advance for today or this week, then we can at least kind of compare, well, Mondays seem to be a good day, because then you can break down even more things that you're not even like intentionally tracking. Like, well, if we know this family doesn't show up for most of their appointments, don't put them on a Monday because that's our busiest day, or
Don't,
Friday.
get their whole family in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And again, this talk right here that we're having, okay, this is probably a mid-manager level conversation that we're having right now. And so I just want to identify that because it's very possible you could sit there as a worker and go, holy cow, when is all this going to get done? You know, when am I going to have time to get, but this is a mid-manager position, mid-manager level conversation that we're having right now. When we start talking about flow charts and managing flow charts and all that kind of stuff. Okay? But yeah, it's like, how often should I look at the speedometer? How often should I discipline my child?
All the time.
Yeah, it's just kind of ongoing.
I don't know.
You know?
Once a month?
Yeah, exactly. I did the discipline thing. And whether they did something wrong or not, I went ahead and disciplined, I went ahead and punished. But, so that's the answer to that question of, how long do we do it? Well, this is kind of an ongoing thing, all right, that we keep track of. And
Oh, she has our posters.
And just to be sure to answer this question too, in case at the worker level you're going, Clay, this is going to be like 1 million systems to track and everything. Yeah, it is. It's a ton. And it never ends. It just kind of keeps going. But as an entrepreneur, as a business owner, all right, if I can pull your head all the way up here to the top, okay? If I can get your head all the way up here to the top, welcome to business ownership. It never stops. But what happens most of the time is business owners enter into a business with a worker mindset. And workers want to be able to come to the job every day. Here's what I'm doing today, and I'm doing pretty much the same thing every single day, and I get the pretty much same output every single day. Those are great mindsets for a worker to have. I think that our employees, when they come to work, they should anticipate, I'm going to come and I'm going to have tools that are prepared for me to do my job each day. I think that's important. But as you start coming up, who's going to sharpen that tool? Well, the worker's gonna do it. Okay, well, what if it breaks? Who's gonna take care of that? Worker's gonna do it. Okay, well, what if you gotta order it? The worker's gonna, if you keep pushing everything down to the worker, they're just gonna go get another job. Does that make sense? But as you come up in these levels of mindsets, you just realize, yeah, this is ongoing. This is just ongoing. That's why I just feel like I'm putting fires out every single day. What's your job? I'm a mid-manager. Yeah, that's what you do.
You're a fireman.
Yeah. What? I want to do something else. Okay, then you need to get out of mid-management because mid-managers put out fires every single day. That's what you do. You come to work and what do you need? What do you need? You're taking care of all. That's what mid-managers do all day. All right? So, fair enough? All right.
So that you guys just bring me the fires, and then I'm like, okay.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yes, we're just
Exactly.
walking fires all the time.
I don't
And-
go, I don't go searching for
Pyros,
fires.
sorry.
Yeah, and so what we can do as mid-managers is we create systems that are fire retardant. We create systems
I love
that don't create fires. Or we create systems that have input into them, right there into them, the fire putting out steps. So people aren't coming to me all the time going, where do I find this? This is broken. What do I do? This isn't working. How do I do? What do I do here? All of that is built into the system. If this, then go here. If this, then go here. Clyde, just sounds like a ton. It's like, welcome to management. Yeah, it is a ton. And if we're not careful, like I said earlier, if we're not careful, we won't put these systems into place. And now we just expect the workers to do it. You know, and sometimes they do. You know, Blake, you come in and we're going, man, Blake's awesome. So we're going, great, Blake's awesome. You know, he's not awesome because he's following awesome systems. He's awesome just because he's Blake. And that's a really nice thing until Blake leaves. And now it's like, oh no, we're screwed. You know, we got to find another Blake. Well, unfortunately, because you didn't have the system, you're right. Now you do have to find another Blake. It can take a long time to do that. Make sense? I deal with this a lot of times too. You guys have probably heard of this, where there's an employee that's been in the company for a long time, and they're like they're the one-man laser show. They're just doing all this kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden, they have to leave. And the very first thing that the manager over them does is, I've got to get everything out of your head that you do. I need you to start writing down everything that you do. And it's way too late. I mean, the person's going, I'm already checked out. I'm already moving to the next level. I do some stuff, you know. It's just really hard to capture it. Okay? So, does that make sense? So this type of tracking is what we want to start doing. There's no homework assignment here for next month. Have everything tracked. Okay? That's not the homework assignment. The homework assignment is begin picking different systems to begin to track. Okay?
Do you want us to go back and look at like our no-shows and stuff and figure out who was like, should we start at the beginning of the year, or do you want to do like a full year from today?
I'd probably, if no-shows feel like they have spiked recently, then just go back to the beginning of the summer.
Okay.
You know, find out what was going on there. If they've been down for a long time, then you kind of have to cut back until you get to you know, good material.
I think they started in August, so it shouldn't be
Yeah.
hard. I would say maybe June. start of
Okay.
June.
As you just pop back there, and if you're going, oh, this is interesting information. Well, let's go back a couple more months, see if that actually is a trend or if it was just a weird thing.
Right.
Okay? And so now you've got a nice little snapshot to look at. Okay? So this is our tracking. And so all of a sudden you're going to have just a whole bunch of little boxes going, okay, we go from here, go from here, go from here, go to here. So again, this needs to have a script. The email needs to be pre-written, all right? Needs to be housed someplace so I can go get it. The text and the call need to be pre-written, all right? So we're not just relying on someone to say, hey dude, you know, but we want to make sure that they're pre-written so we can send those things out. And then if we